Having finally reached Tajikistan, we headed to the capital, Dushanbe, and found the first homestay we could as we were shattered from the last night's ordeal. The next morning, it was up early to get Maggie ready to face the Pamirs.
Hey, so we're in Tajikistan, in Dushanbe, and we're just sorting out Maggie for the Pamir highway and the Mongol Rally steps. And we took it to this garage on the directions of the guy that helped us out get a permit to do the Pamir and stuff, and they just went all over the car and started taking bits off it, and we were like, what? But they're putting new springs in it, putting new tyres in it. They're hoping to sort us out with a roof rack so we can carry our fuel on the roof and stop gassing the person in the back seat. Should be fun. And yeah, Maggie's riding high, and it's all good, and it's not going to cost us as much as we thought. So, good, happy days all around. We're in this awesome little warehouse where loads of people crowd around. I had a big brainstorming session, got quite heated on how to fit a roof rack to our car. We don't really understand what's going on. We've been told to go away and come back in 3 hours. So we'll see what happens, I guess. It's exciting. We've got free reign of the whole car.
Eventually, a perfectly suitable roof rack was formed and fitted onto Maggie. The workers were keen to autograph their work, and even asked us to autograph their garage in return. We then set off the Pamir highway, on the lookout for some other teams we'd heard were in the area. How is it?
It might be done. We're on the way to Korok at the start of the Pamirs. Camped out on the side of this river. It was cold. For the first time in 4 weeks, it was cold. We just woke up to this really quite lovely valley. And just in the distance we can see some Mongol Rally cars, and we think they might be some of the guys we were looking for yesterday and never ended up meeting up with to Convoy. So we're gonna grab some brekkie and head over there and see what's going on. But yeah, it's quite a funny thing to wake up to. Open the door of the tent, there they are.
Yeah, go for it. Do it!
It's hot!
We spent the entire day driving, stopping only a few times for supplies, or to take in the view. It was at a checkpoint where we met a ton of local kids who were keen to show us their favourite toys and pets. Hello. Hello.
Well, we were driving towards the Pamir Highway, Kurok, all day, doing about 20 kilometers an hour. We thought we'd pull over to camp, and we found this nice little place near a stream. And we started talking to this dude, and he's now taking us into his house. We're going to sleep here tonight.
Our host gave us a roof over our heads for the night, but not before he gave us some of his homegrown food and showed us how to do his version of a tequila slammer. Okay, so that is homebrewed vodka, followed by a homebrewed cheese dish, followed by mystery pepper.
Would you like to do the chili first?
Let's go with chili.
Oh no, that's like really rude here. He'll kick you out.
Cheers.
Cheese dip.
That's not bad actually.
The vodka goes down quite well.
It's actually alright.
And now.
No, it goes down.
Big bit.
Oh, that was just
Take a good shot. Take a good shot.
You're going to
No way. Did you bite it?
Spasiba.
We thanked our host the next morning and set off along the Pamirs again, and very quickly stumbled into an ex-war zone.
Like.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
What the fuck? Back the
And
fuck up.
okay, so these are minefields.
They're actually minefields there.
Yeah.
We are literally amongst minefields. We're here at the beginning of the Pamirs, and we've noticed
Oh, there's people on the hill.
a sign back over our shoulder saying "Watch out, mines, don't cross this line," and then right next to us, loads of mine hunting equipment.
And people actually hunting for mines.
People up on a hill hunting for mines, and this literally means we are amongst minefields. We got Adam on driver, Alex on roof duty, and I'm hanging on to the side. And this place is beautiful.
Hello.
Alex, what do you make of the Pamir so far?
It's really windy, and wonderful.
We're gonna pop into the driver's seat, see what's happening down there.
Eventually. Yeah, it's good fun. Fun to drive, and amazing scenery, and a lot of responsibility which you have to take very seriously. Fuck.
Currently waiting at a border checkpoint by Afghanistan.
Crazy.
I just got through a whole conversation in Russian without any hand gestures.
I was up in the sunroof in the crow's nest, and there's steam coming out of the engine. Now we're trying to cool it down.
A loose connection was causing our radiator fan to malfunction, but luckily the Welsh team knew their electronics and were willing to give us a hand.
Jay was playing with the rugby ball, very responsible. It's now down there.
Who actually lost it? Was it Jay?
Bad pass from Bob.
Once Maggie had recovered from her first actual fall, we pressed on and eventually found somewhere to camp for the night.
I've just been labouring under this delusion that our car is mechanically infallible.
It is mechanical. So far it is. It's electrically fallible.
Yeah. Alright.
But everything's fixable with zip ties so far.
And a bit of Welsh electrician.
We woke the next morning, patched Maggie a bit and set off. We saw some explosions on the Afghanistan side of the river, but didn't hang around to find out where they were from. We finally made it to Kyrgyzstan and spent the night there resting. We also met the Swiss team, Phil and Ollie, we hadn't seen since the checkout party all the way back in Prague. The four of our cars set off together the next day, and it was this day that driving got particularly ridiculous. So it's got very potholy. I'm now up here on iceberg duty. Adam, how's the driving down there?
Manic. Just passed through the police, and it turns out the road's been blocked by this trailer which has flipped on its side. So now we're doing a bit of impromptu off-roading.
We drove on into the night, but eventually the darkness forced us to stop at a nearby town. We set off again, with the roads getting worse by the hour. We even saw some industrial vehicles getting stuck in the sand. Luckily, we seemed to get away with it. As it got darker, we had to be more careful. We took it in turns to lead, and whilst we were following the Irish team, we saw a leak coming from their car. By the time we caught up with them, they'd already realised that they'd cracked their gearbox and were losing oil fast.
What's the difference?
Different weights. It's not much oil left.
They did their best to patch it with the materials they had, and then we left it for the night. By the next morning, it was dawning on us that our cars really could break down and leave us stranded in the middle of nowhere. Whilst we waited for the Irish team to check their car, we mucked about with some slow motion as always. Tried to give them a hand, although there wasn't much we could do. did our best to gear Maggie up for the trials to come.
There's a market that happens on the border between Tajikistan and Afghanistan, and you're kind of in Afghan. And it was supposed to be on the day before we got there, which we were kind of gutted about. And we were chatting to some other travellers who said that it has been cancelled for the last month or so because Taliban fighters were seen 3k's from Kurok, which is the town where the market takes place, and they got shot at by the Tajikistan border guards. And they said it wasn't safe enough to have the market. So we were gutted that it wasn't, that we'd missed it, but it turns out it wasn't on anyway because of the Taliban. So it's a fun fact.
We're on the Pamir highway in Tajikistan, and if you look over there, you can make out Pakistan, just over Afghanistan. It's getting pretty mental. Roads up here are getting pretty terrible. Of the convoy of 4 cars, ours is doing okay. One team's cracked their chassis, another team cracked their gearbox, lost all the oil, and another team's air filter isn't working properly. We've got about 200k to the next town over just the worst roads imaginable.
I can see fuck all.
We appeared to have made it through the worst, but it was as we were going through a sandy valley that disaster really struck.
So I just crashed the car and it's fucked and it sprayed coolant everywhere. The whole front beam is bent in. So it should be straight and it's bent like that. The radiator's fucked and it's just sprayed all of our coolant on the road behind us and I feel like a complete twat.
We did our best to mitigate the damage, and with the overwhelming help of the other teams, managed to figure out a solution. Although first, we had to fix the deformed crossmember.
Crack there. And now we're trying to straighten the cross member by yank.
We also patched our radiator as best we could, though it had to set overnight, and judging from the cold in the air, it wasn't going to do well.
You still can put your fingerprint in it.
Can you blow a little bit and
No,
see?
it's airtight as blowing goes. And we had to put this bit on after. We found another hole, and then late last night, we found another hole up here somewhere and one round here. So we had to put some more on, and it's still not, just because it's so cold out. It must have been near 0 last night. It's just not set. So we'll put it in the sun for an hour. I think we'll probably take this off.
With a few options left, and the visas for the other teams running out, I hitched a ride in the back of the Swiss team's falling apart car, with the hopes of finding someone in the next village who could come back with me and pick up Maggie. Swiss team had to move on, so I'm now in a Tajik town in the middle of the Pamir highway. I don't think they have internet or wireless or anything, so just see how this goes. I found some mechanics and guided them back to where Maggie was. Miraculously, by the time we got there, she was working, although barely. We followed her as she limped along to the next village. Maggie was functioning, but we had to stop every 45 minutes to let her cool down and refill the leaking radiator.
It's a cow horse. Or a how?
It's got. They're yaks!
Oh, they are yaks!
That's not a yak. It's a yak! Look, it's got horns!
It's a yak.
It's a yak!
I read in the book there's yak farmers up here. They're fucking
God,
yaks.
I've never seen a yak in my fucking life. Someone's literally crossed a cow with a horse. Look at that one. Look at this. That's a yak.
With Maggie's constant stopping, we didn't reach the next town until it had got dark. We didn't get much sleep, and the first thing we had to do was take her straight to a mechanic the next day. So this is what everyone else is driving, and this is what we're driving. Как тебя зовут? Кто? Бахман. Maxim. We journeyed on along the collapsing, awful roads, stopping each hour to check that Maggie wasn't leaking too much. We're at the peak of the Pamir highway. Thoughts, Alex? It's really warm. You can see some snow. We drove on for hours, and apart from the single fence that marked the border with China, there was nothing for miles. We drove along the terrible corrugated roads through pitch blackness, through a storm, but we finally did reach the final Tajik checkpoint. We'd made it.